Geek Insider presents Geeky, Cheeky, and Downright Freaky with Matthew Harris. He's taking a closer look at some of the wonderfully weird, gloriously geeky, and freaky things in our world.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Geeky, Cheeky, and Downright Freaky. Let me take the glasses off. I hate the glare from my screen on the video feed here. And, of course, everyone, tonight is the first night that we are actually on Indie Volt Radio for the Geeky, Cheeky, and Downright Freaky. And what that means, everyone, is that as we sync up and get things rolling, we're going to have tens of thousands of listeners, new listeners, in fact, because this is the first episode being broadcast on Indie Volt. So first off, thanks to Indie Volt for syndicating us and bringing us on over. And second of all, you know, this doesn't change anything as far as how my listeners over the last 6 months have tuned in. You can still tune in on YouTube and Facebook and the podcast when Meredith gets them uploaded and all that good stuff. But we are now reaching a worldwide audience. And so I want to welcome all of y'all. Varian, the gracious host behind Indie Volt Radio, will be giving me numbers throughout the night and telling me where you folks are so that I can greet you appropriately. But I have kind of some awkward news on this. Even though this is the inaugural edition of Geeky, Cheeky, and Downright Freaky on Indie Volt, this is the last time it'll be on Wednesday. We are actually going to shift over to Sundays starting this coming Sunday, and we'll be at 9 o'clock Eastern. You know, Indie Volt likes doing it, the talk shows on the 9s. We like doing, we have stuff at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m., and we are shifting this next week to where I know the mass majority, or if not all, of the 9 p.m. Eastern slots are going to be filled, but also the 9 a.m. slots. And so Geeky, Cheeky, and Downright Freaky will be taking the Sunday slot, the Sunday 9 p.m. Eastern slot. And so we'll be changing things up. And I hope this kind of helps with my listeners all around, because Wednesday night at 7 o'clock Central, which is where I'm at, it gets a little hectic for folks to be able to get in as they're coming in from work. My brother and my sister and a lot of my family like tuning in. And just it does make it a little bit hard to tune in. So hopefully going in at 8 o'clock Central on Sunday nights will give a lot of more folks from my side of the world a chance to tune in, as well as folks from around the world. And folks, just to give you a little idea, for those that are new to the show, this show, I'm with geekinsider.com. I'm the managing editor. Meredith is my other half on Geek Speak, which we're going to be on Sundays and Mondays and Thursdays at 9 Eastern on the Indie Volt Radio, and 8 o'clock Central on everywhere else that you normally listen to us, YouTube, all of that good stuff. But she's my producer. She's in the background taking it easy. I see her sipping on I think it's like her second bottle of wine, or maybe she's on the third bottle of whiskey. I'm not sure, but I do see her in the background. And this show, whereas Geek Speak, we do interviews and we talk about the geek world. This one, I do touch on that stuff, but we also touch more on the freaky side of geek, whether it is, strange news or the Mandela Effect. That's one of my favorite topics, the Mandela Effect. You can find all kinds of articles on geekinsider.com that discuss the Mandela Effect. We also, on this show, we've covered time travel. We have covered, are we living in a simulation theory? Or simulation. We've discussed the simulation theory, but and so anything that's kind of fringe, not necessarily a conspiracy theory or anything like that, it's just that anything that is geeky, but maybe not mainstream, so to speak. And tonight I'm going to do something a little different. We're not going to discuss the Mandela Effect, and we're not, a couple of weeks ago we discussed angels and we've discussed UFOs. And hi, Jennifer. And I'm doing well. Hope you're doing the same, ma'am. And so we've covered some fringe stuffs, but tonight I want to discuss, because something caught my attention the other day, and then I told Meredith about it, and I had her literally LMAO. Her butt fell off because she was just laughing so hard. And so I want to cover, and it's going to cover the expanse of the name of the show. We're going to cover some geeky kind of stuff in the news and events, and we're going to discuss some really cheeky stuff, and then some downright freaky. I want to thank you all for tuning in, and of course, make sure, if you haven't already done so, that you follow us on Indie Volt on YouTube. You go to YouTube, just type in Indie, INDIE, space Volt, VOLT, because you're going to want to catch the other shows that are on the network. There are some really great shows. We'll promote a couple of them tonight. But just remember, it's on the 9s, and I think it's going to be 7 days a week now, 9 a.m. Eastern and 9 p.m. Eastern. You're going to be able to catch some killer talk shows with killer guests. If you are a creator or a creative type and you're wanting tips on what to do with the things that your creativity, these are the shows to tune into. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I totally lost my train of thought. This happened early in the show tonight. It usually happens a little bit later. But so make sure that you follow Indie Volt, and then also make sure that you follow Geek Insider on YouTube. Again, just go to YouTube, type in Geek space Insider, and we have, man, it tripped me out the other day because it wasn't that long ago. We just hit 100 videos. We're up to like 185 videos, and a lot of them are kick-ass interviews that Meredith and I have done with folks from movies, directors, writers, musicians. We've met some killer musicians lately. And so you've got a whole big library there on YouTube. And of course, you can also catch them on your podcast, whichever platform is your favorite, iHeartRadio, Podbean, iOS, Amazon, whatever the case may be. You can go in and start listening to the Geek Insider podcast. So anyway, now that I've done enough self-promotion, that was like a record 8 minutes of self-promotion of just Indie Vote and the things we've got going on at geekinsider.com. But tonight, the first thing we're going to discuss is what really got me set off on this topic, and that is some crazy drug side effects. Now, I know that, and I have no doubt, I've seen a couple of them, but I've also seen, or I haven't seen some of the latest ones where there's just some side effects to drugs that seem a little bit extreme. And, I'm all for curing what ails you, but if you take a drug and the side effects are worse than the ailment, or possible side effects are worse than the ailment, is it worth it? And what sent me down this particular rabbit hole is Fournier's gangrene. Now, what this is it's an infection around the genitals, mainly your perineum. And if you don't know what your perineum is, it's your taint. And if you don't know what your taint is, it's that little bit of area that it taint your butthole and it taint the good stuff. It's just that little area that is between the two. And it's a rare necrotizing fasciitis that of the perineum and the genital region that usually comes on suddenly and severely, and it's normally due to a synergistic polymicrobial infection. And so you get this infection, and it infects the genitals, but it also it infects the perineum, your taint. And that ain't the way that they announce it on some of these commercials, because the way it came across is that it's a side effect of a damn drug, and it's be warned about this infection of your perineum. Well, I went to look and I'm like, what the hell kind of disease is going to, or drug is going to give you an infection on your freaking taint? And so I had to look into it. And it's this foreigner's gangrene, and doctors are starting to actually see it more and more. And it's typically seen in diabetics. The main drug that gives this side effect is one for diabetes, but doctors are seeing it more and more in elderly and otherwise immune compromised individuals. And there's actually several drugs that the FDA has warned that may be a catalyst for this Fournier's gangrene. And trust me, guys, gangrene, you know the word, you've heard it. If you've ever seen somebody with gangrene, just wait, because remember, we're talking about gangrene of your taint. And so I found, as I'm looking through this, I found a story about a 29-year-old dude that ended up with it, not due to drugs, medications as a side effect. I mean, he's 29, so he ain't old, and he didn't have any immune compromisation. He was otherwise healthy, and he went to the emergency department because he had a fever, he'd been throwing up, and he'd had muscle pain for 2 days. After questioning by the doctors, he admitted that he also had severe pain and swelling in his scrotum lately, since the last time that he masturbated, actually 3 days ago. And he told the docs, he said, well, I thought the pain was due to that I jack off too much. He jacked off quite frequently, and he used soap as a lubricant. But even using that kind of lubricant, he was experiencing a lot of friction burn and skin abrasions. And well, docs completed an exam of him, and they went down and looked at his little old taint. And lo and behold, it was consistent with the Fournier's gangrene. Now, this coming description alone should be enough to scare the shit out of any guy. As far as this drug goes, because you get some red splotches and other discoloration and edema, which means swelling of both the penis and the scrotum. Bad enough. Swelling of the penis might not be a bad thing in some situations, but in this one, it sounds really scary, especially when you couple it with large peeling scabs. And of course, since it's gangrene, it stinks to high heaven. And so this dude has a rotting cock. And the man, he was given intravenous antibiotics and immunoglobulin, and he had to undergo 3 surgical procedures to remove dead and damaged tissue from his scrotum and penis with split thickness skin grafting. That's what they called it, split thickness skin grafting. That plus penile region does not match up. You get split thickness skin grafting. I don't want that anywhere on my body, let alone in my scrotile region. So, you know, complications from excessive masturbation are exceedingly rare, but as this illustrates, they can indeed be life-threatening. And I have a feeling that a few of y'all out there listening are kind of guilty of this excessive masturbation. And so just heed the warning. You want to make sure that you clean up afterwards, and that you wait. I'm sorry, I was reading stuff here, and Meredith is talking to me from the back room, and then I can't read and talk at the same time. It is time for a break, and then we're going to come back. We got some more drug craziness, man. And then I've got some other stuff, crazy sex and comics, as well as some just fucked up news, man, in the world. And so y'all hang tight. We're going to be right back after these messages.
This is the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Subscribe to us wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Also catch us on the HWWS Web TV YouTube channel. Subscribe today and become part of the legend.
Hey, I'm Sal, and I am looking for a wife.
That's not unbelievable. I am looking for ladies.
Looking for love during a health pandemic? Try COVID Connections, a new dating app for a new normal.
These are things I like. Marbles, Hot Pocket. I like Adidas. I like Nike. Ben & Jerry's ice cream. Doesn't matter the kind. I like girls with nails, with glasses, without glasses, with hair. Are all of these hitting anything you like? There are two foreseeable drawbacks. One, I sweat a lot. Two, I'm 5'6".
Find your connection on Instagram at COVID_connections_.
I get so tickled at those. I'm 5'6". Folks, really go to Instagram and follow at COVID_connections_. That brought a tear to my eye. These guys are great. Matter of fact, because we are on Indie Vote Radio for the first time, I want to play a couple more of these because I've had this little relationship going with them for the last few weeks. And so I got a couple of commercials. Let's play a couple of more by them.
I am a unicorn meadow. Hopefully you are 5'4", brunette, and a C cup.
Looking for love during a health pandemic? Try COVID Connections, a new dating app for a new normal.
I'm technically a virgin. I mean, as long as you don't count, like anal.
Find your connection on Instagram at COVID_connections_.
My name is Kevin. I haven't been out since 2012, and I am COVID free.
Looking for love during a health pandemic? Try COVID Connections, a new dating app for a new normal.
We're looking for that lucky third.
For safety's sake, we think we should wear masks when we're together, but no condoms.
Find your connection on Instagram at COVID_connections_.
Rhonda here from Colorado. I am COVID quarantining. My kids, I teach 6th grade math, and they're always telling me, you know what, Miss Rhonda, you do you. So I've been tripping for about 30 days now.
Looking for love during a health pandemic? Try COVID Connections, a new dating app for a new normal.
For those of you who are concerned about contracting this COVID-19, inhale Lysol. Let's get in touch.
Find your connection on Instagram at COVID_connections_.
I tell you though, I need to meet this teacher. I'm married and everything, but I need to meet this teacher that's been tripping for 30 days. And of course, guys, that is a spoof site. It's not a real dating app. But these guys that are behind it, they're two brothers, and they're great. They got a great sense of humor. They're trying to have a little fun during all of this. And so make sure that you join their Instagram, watch for their new drops, and, have a little fun. And if you got an idea, you want to be a part of it, you want to record your own, do it and send it over to them. They're just, like I said, they're just trying to have a little fun. So anyway, next up with the freaking drugs, man. There are drugs, that they tout that they're going to cure your antidepressant. They're going to cure your incontinence. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. Well, a lot of the time, or most of the time, when they go to listing the side effects, the dude talks faster than an auctioneer trying to get rid of bronze horse shit. He just talks extraordinarily fast, and if you don't pay attention, you're going to miss it. And that's what happens with a lot of this perineum infection. I know Meredith doesn't watch a whole lot of TV. When she watches something, it's usually a movie or something with her husband, and so she doesn't watch a lot of broadcast TV, so she doesn't see these type of commercials. But even those of us that do tune them out. And so we come up with these ailments, and we have to go to the doctor, and we don't know that our tank could fall off. And then there's also these ones where you could just end up screwed up. Like there have been some reports of patients completely losing the ability to smell, which is called anosmia or anosmia. And it's a side effect of interferons, which are commonly used to treat hepatitis, multiple sclerosis, leukemia. And one patient in Croatia stopped detecting smell after it was 2 weeks after taking the medication for the very first time. And then, of course, he stopped because he couldn't smell anymore. Even 13 months later, he couldn't smell a thing. And then there's Requip, which is used to treat restless leg syndrome and or Parkinson's disease. But according to its maker, GlaxoSmithKline, the drug can lead to compulsive gambling and sex. The product's info sheet says patients should inform their physician if they experience new or increased gambling urges, increased sexual urges, or other intense urges while taking Requip. So if you end up in Vegas with a bunch of hookers and you went broke, you can blame it on Requip. Of course, Ambien has long been associated with strange, to say the least, nocturnal side effects, from sleepwalking, sleep talking, but there's also been sleep eating, big time. People get the midnight munchies and sleep cook and do all kinds of stuff while taking Ambien, even driving while asleep, not remembering at all that they were out driving. I'm going to screw this one up. Mefloquine, Mefloquine, is used to fight malaria, but it's been reported with some hella side effects. Patients have complained of hallucinations and even suicide attempts while taking the drug. Now, if they'd have stopped at hallucinations, I'd have probably bought this drug. But if you got suicide attempts, then I'm out. Now, in the what the fuck are they thinking category, there's several drugs on the market, ladies and gentlemen, and this is including the antidepressant amitriptyline. I'm always going to get these wrong. Hey, wait till we get into some of the stuff from around the world I got to pronounce in a minute. The painkiller Indocin and the anesthetic propofol diprivan, you will pee blue. The blue color comes from artificial colors in the drugs. So why the hell wouldn't they stop using the color shit? What made them think peeing blue is perfectly fine? Well, sir, only 80% report peeing like a Smurf. That's fine. Get it out on market. Trust me, when your pee changes color, and I'm speaking from experience, we won't go into details, but when your pee changes color, it'll freak you out, especially when you have it in the middle of the night. Just going, looking at the radio here. Okay, hang on. Let me do one quick thing. And, oops. Sorry, guys. I got dings going off everywhere. There's one more drug that I want to talk about because, it's a group of drugs, but it causes toxic epidermal necrolysis, TEN, T-E-N. And it starts as painful blisters around the mouth, then it spreads as a rash to the torso and face, but always sparing the scalp. TEN results in extensive skin loss on more than 30% of the body's surface. And sadly, medications are the major trigger. There's several medications that are known to cause this. There's antibiotics, seizure medications, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, NSAIDs, allopurinol, and steroid medications. And similar to burn injuries, the treatment, there is treatment. It's just supportive care, but it can make patients feel like they've been burned. And we are gonna to move into some crazy sex stories next. I could have went on and on, guys. I found just so many websites of just crazy drugs. You know, the hallucinations and the sex stuff. That was just kind of the tip of the iceberg. There are ones that make your fingernails and toenails fall off, ones that make your hair fall out, ones, and y'all have heard the ones about like Cialis and Viagra, where you hear the little quick talker going, if you experience an erection for more than 4 hours, contact your doctor. And there's been those jokes, you know, that an erection lasts more than 4 hours. That's a scheduling issue. But priapism is actually a major deal, and there's other drugs. A matter of fact, a lot of drugs that can cause this to where it lasts more than 4 hours, a lot longer than 4 hours, and it can actually be life-threatening. So imagine going in front of St. Peter and having to explain that you're there because your Peter was hard for more than 4 hours and you died. Death by Chi-Chi or hard on. Anyway, we're going to take another quick break, and then we're going to come back with some crazy sex in comics, folks. Now, this is something that I've discussed before in articles on Geek Insider. We discussed it once during an indie event, but it is something that, especially being live on Indie Vote for the first time tonight, that I want to make sure that everybody knows about, because, and I'm not talking indie comics where, you know, every panel has a naked woman. I'm talking DC and Marvel. And I'm talking not just straight up, hey, they went in the bedroom and had sex. I'm talking some freaky sex stuff. So y'all stay tuned. We'll be right back with some more geeky, cheeky.
Now, every Sunday morning, longtime independent comics creator and Indie Volt podcaster Randy Zimmerman hosts a discussion on the lighter side of comics, the more whimsical and fun comics out there on the Sunday Funnies. That's 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time every Sunday on Indie Volt, indievolt.com, the Indie Volt YouTube channel, and the usual Indie Volt sites on Facebook. Listen in, won't you? Participate in the chat. Let's have some fun. See you there.
At Geek Insider, we foster relationships with those in the geek sphere so we can give our audience the insider view of entertainment, tech, and more.
All right. And so we saw a couple of ads there, and we got a lot of exciting things going on here at Geek Insider, folks. You know, one is the syndication across Indie Vote. We are going to be live on Sunday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern with Geeky, Cheeky, and Downright Freaky. Monday nights with Geek Speak, our new showtime, where we have interviews with folks from across industries and anything that we deem geeky. And then also on Thursday nights with our second episode of Geeky, Cheeky, Geek Speak. On these nights, we do have a lot of musicians and animators and writers, and we really try to go indie on Thursday nights. And then on Fridays from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Time, you can catch the replay of Geek Speak. And some of these are our older shows, and some of these, once we get through the older shows, then we'll start doing a replay of the best show of the week, whether it's the Monday or the Thursday show. But next up, I did want to discuss the crazy sex stories in comics. And like I said, these are from DC and Marvel. And you would think, that, like I said a while ago, that they might allude to the fact of Reed Richards and Sue and Reed going to the bedroom and getting down and dirty. That I could kind of go with. I mean, it's, they're supposed to be mirroring life, but no. Some writers decided to take things not just a little bit further, a lot further. And this is another one we've written about a couple of times on Geek Insider. There was a story that a former author covered that still gets a lot of traction on Geek Insider, where he discussed the rape of Miss Marvel. And then I covered it as well in an article earlier this year. And we're talking about the Avengers 200, number 200. This starts out with Carol Danvers, which is Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel. She gives birth, and this is after being pregnant for like 3 days, not 9 months. And then, of course, being a superhero, the kid grows up within a matter of days, and then he names himself. My name's Marcus. And first, Marcus is the son of the Avengers foe Immortus, and a woman that looked an awful like Carol. I get it. It's a little weird. Okay, wait a minute. How the hell can Marcus be the son of Immortus and some other woman? You have to stay with me here, because Immortus was stuck in limbo, and in an attempt to produce an heir, he did some mumbo jumbo to connect limbo with Earth, and then he kidnapped and impregnated the woman that looked like Carol, and he used a mind control machine on her to impregnate her, or to get her to agree to the copulation. And when Immortus sent the woman back to Earth, Marcus, the unborn child, got caught in the interdimensional connection between Earth and Limbo, and he was left all alone when dear old dad disappeared. And so he grows up in Limbo, or he evolves in Limbo, and taking a cue from dear old dad, Marcus comes up with a plan to escape. But he kind of goes all Freudian here, because he's extremely attracted to Miss Marvel because of her appearing so much like his mother, her looking so much like his mother. So he abducts Carol, pulls her into an interdimensional love nest, and first he sets out to win her heart the good old-fashioned way. He tries to woo her, but it doesn't work. And he's the son of a bitch. He's the son of a god ish, and so he doesn't take no for an answer. And he, of course, he doesn't have the best DNA in him, and so he turns to daddy's tech, and he forces Carol to change her feelings about him. The high-tech aphrodisiac works, and he takes her to bed against her true will, and he rapes her. And he impregnates her with his quote-unquote essence. Doesn't impregnate her in the traditional way. He impregnates her with himself. And as soon as he's done his business, he disappears faster than any man in history after a one-night stand. And Marcus then uses more of Immortus's tech, and he wipes Carol's memory and sends her back in time to just seconds after he had kidnapped her. And so she comes to, she has a baby, everything seems normal until it doesn't seem normal. She just had been pregnant for a couple of days. But so he grows up, names himself, when his presence on Earth, his mere presence, causes a huge rift and all sorts of crazy time ripples on Earth. And he realizes that he has to go back to his dimension. And you would kind of think that this is where Marvel would go, okay, we've been twisted enough. But no, Carol not only reveals that she's not only going to go with Marcus to his dimension, but that she has true, deep feelings for her rapist. Not a mother-son relationship either. The mix of her feelings for her son and the lingering after effects of the mind control devices have resulted in her forgiving and feeling closer to Marcus than she's felt to anyone in a long, long time. And so they justify her rape. I mean, there's no two ways to put about it. That it wasn't a consensual sex. It was a rape. She didn't want him, and she got it anyway. Now, when we talk about sex in mainstream comics, of course, one of the first things a lot of people think of, especially me with the Batman stuff, is Joker and Batgirl. You know, and the Killing Joke, whether you see the movie or the animated movie that came out a few years ago or the comic book, Joker kidnaps Barbara Gordon and then he has his way with her. And in the comic book, you see her naked and it kind of alludes to the fact that he raped her. But you're kind of left questioning on whether did he really rape her or did he just, embarrass her and go after her pride with stripping her down. But no, in the animated movie, we learn that Barbara was completely raped by him after he shot her through the spine and left her as a paraplegic. So Barbara was completely helpless when the maniac of all maniacs ripped her clothes off and had his way with her. And as DC fans and comic book fans, that's one of the first things we go to. But there's also there's several classic comics that have some even freakier stuff. In The Dark Knight Strikes Again, which was by Frank Miller, and which if you've seen the Dark Knight The Dark Knight Returns and some of those other Frank Millers, Frank Miller did the 300. He also did I'm going to speak out of school. But anyway, Frank Miller is a legend. And, we've all probably heard, or you've all probably heard the jokes involving, Superman and Wonder Woman having sex, including one with an innocent, invisible man accidentally getting violated by Superman because Superman sees Wonder Woman sunbathing naked and he flies down and he screws really, really fast and flies off again. And the invisible man is like, what the hell was that? Because he just got it in the butt. But those jokes may actually pale in comparison to what happened in The Dark Knight Strikes Again. Frank Miller, he has not only Diana, Wonder Woman, and Clark Kent, Superman, communicating telepathically. They have sex that makes the earth move, literally, because after he takes her, quote, like his rightful prize, which is what Wonder Woman says in the comic, and page after page, about 8 of them, in fact, those two shatter mountaintops, they cause earthquakes, they create tidal waves, and kill potentially all sorts of people while copulating. And they don't even seem to care about all the people that they could kill while they are having coitus. And then just a couple of rounds later, or a couple of minutes later, after they get done, Wonder Woman is like ready for round 2. And folks, this show is going along rather quickly, but not as quickly as I hoped, because I do want y'all to stay tuned on Indie Vote Radio for the Indie Princess. Lola is coming up here pretty soon. So I am actually going to end up skipping a couple of things here as far as the comics go, because I've got some really screwed up news I want to share with you all, and it's probably just about 20 minutes worth. But first, if you have never checked out Green Lantern Corps 206, Green Lantern, Hal Jordan, he ends up having sex with Arissa, and she's like a 14-year-old girl, but she gets, or a 13-year-old. She gets magically transformed into a grown woman because, well, you'll just have to check out the comic. And then in Ultimates 3, Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, brother and sister, they get it on. Not only that, Logan is watching from the bushes. And I've got images, actually, I uploaded for all this stuff. But, well, let's see here. Let's take a look at this one real quick. That's it. And then also in that same episode, same issue, there's mention of a sex tape with Tony Stark and Black Widow. And so you definitely might want to check that issue out. And like I said, it's the Ultimates 3. Justice League, The Rise of Arsenal has been touted as the worst comic ever. And there's more than one reason, but probably the biggest reason is that Roy Harper, which he's the hero or the former hero, formerly known as Speedy and Red Arrow and Arsenal. He a couple of times he was known as Arsenal. He decides to daydream about having sex with his ex, Cheshire, while he's having a fight with none other than Cheshire. And so I guess he gets more than a little turned on, because after a little while later, he's got her all tied up, and he tells her she likes it rough anyway. And he tries to take advantage of her being tied up, but he can't get it up. And yep, they say it in the comic. That's just kind of more than messed up in a comic. Oh. Uh-oh. Well, I guess I was removed there for a minute and y'all couldn't hear me talking. But anyway, so Cheshire apparently didn't mind the forced sex attempt at all. And it turned into more of a pity sex situation. But you still have to wonder, what the hell was Marvel thinking? Arsenal then does what any superpowered man would do in this situation. He suits back up and heads out to kick bad guy ass and to shoot up some heroin. Oh, and he hallucinates and envisions that a dead cat is his baby. That is Marvel for you. The 2004 miniseries Identity Crisis is another one that you'll want to check out. I'm not going to go into it. There's a lot in that, but just suffice it to say that Dr. Light rapes the wife of Elongated Man, and Zatanna goes to wipe his memory. It's just a whole convoluted thing. They cover up a rape is what they do. So we're right down to the 15-minute mark left in the show. And like I said, we've got the Indie Princess coming on tonight. I think she has some guests and she's got some special stuff planned. So we definitely don't want to go into her time. I want to thank everybody that is tuning in tonight. We've got over 30,000 folks for this first show of Geeky, Cheeky, and Downright Freaky on a Wednesday night. Just remember, we're going to Sunday night at 9 Eastern next week. And so I hope everybody is tuned in tonight tunes in next week. But we're going to take one more quick break, and then we're going to wrap up with just some crazy, fucked up news that from around the world. So, and no matter where you are, you're going to want to hear this stuff because, like I said, there's some crazy shit. Stand by. We'll be right back, everybody.
Check it out. MobileEdge.com has award-winning products with innovative features and contemporary, edgy designs that empower you to look sharp and travel smart with your mobile tech. Your beloved, not to mention expensive gaming gear and mobile tech devices are an extension of you, so give them the protection and style they deserve wherever you go. Find them at MobileEdge.com and protect your tech with Mobile Edge. Bring it on. Hey Geek Insiders, Mobile Edge has a special coupon code for our dedicated listeners. Get 25% off your Mobile Edge gear using coupon code GEEK25. That's GEEK25. Geek out.
All right, everybody. And so there is something that I used to do years ago on some other projects that I worked on. It was called the Fucked Up News. And it was just news that I went out and cultivated from around the world. And I this is really going to transition into my other show that is coming towards the end of the year, which is called the Not So Happy Hour. But I thought it kind of went along with tonight's theme, especially after I seen some of these news articles that came out. Because last night in central Thailand, a young man, and brother, I'm going to butcher your name. I do this a lot. I told y'all it was coming. Just wait, because we're getting into some countries and stuff. And with this southern accent, I butcher everything. But Sirafop Musakarat, he went to the bathroom last night, and suddenly, all of a sudden, he got a searing pain in his junk. He looked down and saw a python with its jaws clamped around the tip of his penis. Now, luckily, it quickly let go, but blood started spurting all around the toilet bowl. He's only 18, guys. He yelled and screamed in terror as any one of us, whether you're 18 or 70, you're going to scream in terror, run out of the bathroom with your pants around your ankles. He yelled for his mom, and mom, she calmed him down some and got paramedics there. They rushed him to a nearby hospital. Snake handlers removed the 4-foot python and relocated it. And the boy was quoted as saying, "It was only a small snake, but its bite was so strong, I hope that my penis can recover." Well, Sirapop, I hope your penis recovers too, because that is messed up. And I'm going to be scared to sit on the toilet for the rest of my life, thanks to you. And so I will be damn sure taking a look to see what is inside the toilet. Now, next up, this one just hit the news as well within the last day or two. This woman, it was after my own heart, man. She loved Halloween. And I do too. I've had some hellacious Halloween parties. I renewed my vows with my second wife on Halloween. And this lady, she passed away, and she's married and got kids. And why is this not coming up? Because I have it in background instead of overlay. Ah, crap. Hang on. So y'all can't hear me if I go and show the obituary like that. Great. So just one second, everyone. Let me quickly upload this in the right section. I uploaded it in the wrong area, and it won't let me show it and read it at the same time. I can't even unmute myself. So this was Holly Blair, and her obituary, folks, is being celebrated because It says Holly Blair exploded into glitter and bats on August 17th, 2020. She is survived by 4 spoiled cats, 2 stinky dogs, 3 bad birds, a turtle, and an utterly useless frog named Fred, as well as 3 children and a husband of little to no importance. Her remains will be interred under a tree with the ridiculous multitude of animals she rescued, both wild and domestic. Her future plans include drinking beer with Terry Pratchett and flying across the moon on her broomstick on Halloween. She has also promised to communicate with us from beyond via the cockatiel psyche. We ask that everyone carve extra jack-o'-lanterns on Halloween this year in her honor. All hail the Wicked Witch of Juniper Road. And that's just cute, folks, that not only did she love Halloween, but that her family, continued that on and continued it on through through her death. And the next thing I wanted to cover is a woman. You know what they say, a woman, there's no hell hath no fury as a woman scorned. Well, this young lady got upset that not only her husband cheated on her, but that he left. And on the flyers she put out in his neighborhood, and dang it, it's too small to read, but she basically shows a picture of him circled and her, along with her 2 children, which I'm not quite sure I agree with, showing the children, but she's calling him out in his new neighborhood and saying that he was a cheater, and even asked the police to ticket him for adultery. And so I read where it was taken down rather quickly, the flyers were, but that would kind of suck. You move across the country or across the state, and then all of a sudden your ex is out there posting flyers for you or about you. Now, this next little thing, guys, this is for my men that are out there listening. Lani Pavlovich. She's from Queensland, Australia. There she is right there. Beautiful. If you want, you can go look her up online, and she will give you advice on how to improve your love life based on the shape and size of your pecker. That's right. You send her $50, 28 pounds, and a picture of your one-eyed trouser snake, and she'll send you a Rate Your Rooster report, and it'll detail the sexual positions that are best for you, and she'll help you understand your anatomy better and even give you some hygiene tips. And she also provides therapy sessions for both singles and couples. She's working on her master's in sexology. And she's brutally honest from everything I've read. She's brutally honest, and she will tell you. And so I will not be sending her a picture of my penis if she's brutally honest, because I just don't need that sort of grief. Now, we're closely coming up on the end of the show. And folks, if y'all are listening in on Indie Volt Radio, make sure you stay tuned, because Layla will be up with Indie Princess. And I'm not sure what all she has planned tonight, but she is in her regular 9 o'clock slot, and I just kind of weaseled on in here. But in Australia, again, the Kyle and Jackie show, it's on the Australian radio station KIIS. And they have a segment with a game called Boyfriend or Daddy. And a female guest comes in, she brings a male companion, and the 2 hosts have to guess whether he's the woman's other half or her dad. And if the hosts, if they guess incorrectly, the woman wins a little over 500 pounds or $1,000 US. And this week, 26-year-old Stacy brought along Nick, who's 49. And at the end of the game, the host decided to give one last challenge to the pair so they can try to figure out, is this boyfriend or dad? And well, let's take a look at how it turned out.
Or your dad. So feel free to kiss as much as you want. Let's go in.
Oh, they are fully kissing. That was a makeout. Brooklyn, did you see that?
It has to be a boyfriend.
It couldn't be anything. I'm locking in boyfriend without a doubt.
I'm disturbed.
It has to be the boyfriend. It has to be. Did you see that, Jackie? What do you think?
It has to be
I'm
boyfriend.
locking in boyfriend. Okay,
Yeah.
Jackie, what are you locking in?
Boyfriend. Yeah, after seeing that, boyfriend.
Brooklyn, what are you locking
boyfriend.
in? Okay,
Yep.
it can't be the father. No one kisses their father
No,
like that
no.
unless you live in the mountains and you don't have any neighbours and stuff. Okay, we've all locked in. This has to be your boyfriend. You can now tell us, is it your boyfriend or is it your daddy?
The things we do for money. This is actually my father.
What the hell? What the actual hell?
My boyfriend.
That is wrong on so many levels, because the people cheering in the background because she lip locked her dad. I mean, hey, $1,000 is $1,000, but would you lip lock your dad for $1,000? I don't know. And we're gonna try to wrap this up real quick. We only got a few minutes left before the Indie Princess takes over, and I only got 2 more news articles I wanted to cover, so we're gonna cover it quick. An elderly man in the village of, here we go, Parcoul-Chenaude. I totally butchered it. I know I did. Y'all listeners in France, I'm sorry. But he was about to eat dinner the other night when a fly started bugging the shit out of him. So he grabbed an electric fly swatter to swat him. But unfortunately, and I'm sorry, hell, it doesn't have your name, but I'm sorry, sir. I don't mean to laugh, but there was a gas canister leaking in the home, and the spark from the racket caused an explosion which destroyed the kitchen and partially damaged the roof of the house. And luckily, though, the man was not injured. No word on the fate of the fly. And I do want to throw out here before I hit the last story and we close out for tonight, so y'all can check out Indie Princess. If you all have any kind of story ideas, you have questions about the geek world or any of the guests that we have upcoming on Geek Speak or Geeky, Cheeky, and Downright Freaky, you can drop me a line at Matthew@geekinsider.com. You can drop Meredith a line at Meredith@geekinsider.com. And of course, make sure you follow us or that you subscribe on Indie Volt on YouTube, as well as Geek Insider on YouTube, because we both have all kinds of shows besides these and that you'll want to check out. And for the last story tonight, guys, most of y'all have heard about Pruno. It's wine made from fermented fruit, sugar, and water by those that are in prison. But there is the disgusting food museum in Malmö, Sweden, that has some of the most disgusting alcoholic drinks and food known to man. And they have them on display. You're not going to go in and eat it or drink it. But they have a spit fermented cornmeal beer from Peru, a Ugandan gin made from fermented bananas, an ancient Korean beverage that's fermented from children's feces and rice, which was thought to be medicinal in the past. Oh, that makes my stomach turn as I drink my bourbon. There's also a Scottish brew that's served from the mouth of a taxidermy squirrel, and an Icelandic beer made with whale testicles smoked in sheep dung. Walnuts and sheep dung. They also have a food display too, which dishes such as bull testicle, maggot-infested cheese, frog smoothies from Peru, and a wine made of baby mice that is consumed in China. That's going to do it for Geeky, Cheeky, and Downright Freaky, folks. Thank you all so much. Have a fantastic night. We will see you Sunday at 9 o'clock Eastern. Have a great night, everybody.
For Geek Insider advertising opportunities, contact advertising@geekinsider.com.